Welcome back to the 52nd part in this Python series on the Django Web Framework. In the next couple of videos I want to talk, or get to a point in the project where we can talk about many-to-many relationships, but at the moment we don't really have a reason to use that, so I thought I'd create one by trying to give users the ability to link the profiles together in some way. So in other words, something like your Facebook friends, so that would be using a many-to-many relationship because it's linking many users to each other. So I'm going to try to do that with the accounts and things that we've already got built into our Django project and essentially create ourselves a sort of friends list. So let's go ahead and get started on that particular thing. So I'm going to go over to let's say the views because we need to make some changes. So on this homepage at the moment we have the ability for a user logged into an account to write a post and it will show up on the homepage. But let's say I want to use up some of this white space over here and I want to sort of put the other users that they can connect with, sort of maybe like a suggested users sort of column, but for now it's just going to be all the users because we don't have that many. To do that we need to first find the information that we want to display in our template. And in this case, because we want to display other users, we're going to use that Django built-in user model. And we're just going to display one bit of information so that we know who's who, say the username, because we know it's unique. So to do that I need to pass through the users. So I'm going to say users is equal to user.objects.all. So for now that's just going to get all the objects. Remember this is going to include ourselves because we are in the database, so at some point we would want to take that out again. But I need to import this. So from django.contrib.auth.models import user. So that's the model that we're using. And here I'm just going to get all the user objects and then I'm going to pass that through as users to the template where we can then use the user's data that's stored in that model. So now that we've got that coming through, at least on the GET request, we can worry about post in a minute. Or in fact, maybe I'll make post just call the GET request. Anyway, I'll think about that in a second. So at the moment we can use the user's object, so it's now being passed through to the template. But what do we want to do with this template? Well, if you think about it, we want, instead of one column here, so at the moment all the data is in one big wide column, I want to sort of split it into thirds really. So I want 2/3 for this homepage section, and then I want another third over here for the users to display. So I'm going to use Bootstrap again to do that, and I'm going to create a div, and this div is just going to use the Bootstrap grid system. I'm going to do column medium 8. So the numbers have to add up to 12, so an 8, and we're going to do a 4 in a minute, which means it's going to be 8 across and then 4 across, which adds up to 12. And that should be able to make it so that we've got that sort of thirds in our web page. I can delete this one. I've just copied that inside the div there. And then I'm going to create another div. And this is going to be column medium 4. So this Bootstrap thing, if you're not too familiar with the grid system, it's going to be a column at medium width. The medium refers to when it's going to sort of scale down, and if you have, say, for example, a column small 4, then the Bootstrap sort of it would respond differently depending on the width of the browser. So that's the reason. So I'm just going to stick with medium for now because I find it a good sort of middle ground. It could be large or small or extra small as well. And I'm maybe missing extra large. I think there might be an extra large as well. But if there's not, just correct me in the comments. But now that we've got that, we can say I'm going to add just a H2. And I'm just going to say other people. So that's just going to be a quick header. We can just check that works. And so now we've got the sort of the 2/3 and the 1/3, and we've got a nice header there. So I think that looks quite good. What I want to do is, in fact I want to make that the same size because it's a bit odd, isn't it? So I'm going to make this a H2 as well because I don't think the home needs to be quite that big. And okay, I think that looks a bit better. So now you can feel free to customize this however you want, but with respect to populating this list here, what I'm going to do, because we've got the users being passed in as a list, we need to iterate through that list. So I'm going to do that in the template by saying for user in users, and then I'm going to end the for, because otherwise I will forget, and so that's just end for, and it won't work without that end for tag because it's not Python, of course. So then I can just say user.username, so that's going to be the actual information that shows up. But the problem that I have here is if I refresh, we get them all in a line there. So instead of doing that, I'm going to sort of format this a bit better by putting it all in, let's say H3. Let's see how that looks. And then if I cut that, paste it in there. So now we've got a list here, and what I want is, I want this to be a link so that we can click through and see their profile page. But at the moment it's not a link, so we can just do an A tag. And so the link we'll get to in a minute, so we can leave that out for now. And I want to put this head tag inside the link. So just like that. And so that should look a little bit better. So they're all links now and we can click on them. Of course they won't go anywhere because we haven't got the URL in there yet. So what I want to do here is make it relative, so I don't want to hard code it again like I have done in the past to show you what not to do, but I want to say URL and then the namespace, so this is going to be account. So this is just going to be a link to their profile page as opposed to our profile page. But actually we can be quite clever and reuse our code here by reusing the same profile page that we used to power our own profile, except that we're going to call it with a different user object. So we're going to need to make a slight modification to the view to do that, but I'm going to say view profile, and we created this view and URL so that it was actually quite generic, so it didn't say, oh, take me to my profile, because if we'd have called it that we may want to rename it at this point. But because I said view profile, which it didn't specify which profile, it's perfectly fine, and it makes logical sense to use it now. I think that's a good start for our sort of many relationship type friend system that we're about to build here in the future videos. And in the next one we're going to sort of finish off being able to take you through to a particular user's profile page by making change to the accounts views, as well as changing some of the URLs to make sure that it takes us to the right page when we click on the link.